painful story of JonBenét Ramsey murder. On the morning after Christmas in 1996, the quiet town of Boulder, Colorado was shattered by the horrific discovery of 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey's brutally murdered body in her family's home. What followed was a perplexing investigation that would captivate the nation, raise more questions than answers, and leave the killer's identity a mystery to this day. JonBenét's lifeless body was discovered in the basement of her family's home, strangled with a makeshift garrote. The crime scene was immediately compromised, with numerous people trampling through the home and inadvertently destroying potential evidence. This misstep would prove to be a major setback for investigators as they tried to piece together the events of that fateful night. From the outset, the case was shrouded in controversy and speculation. The Ramsey family, including JonBenét's parents, John and Patsy, quickly became the focus of intense scrutiny. Many believed one or more of them were responsible for the child's brutal murder, despite their steadfast claims of innocence. The investigation was further complicated by the presence of a puzzling ransom note, which demanded a specific sum of money matching a recent bonus John Ramsey had received. This detail led some to theorize the crime was a premeditated kidnapping gone wrong. However, the note's strange wording and rhetoric raised more questions than answers. As the case dragged on with no clear suspect, the media frenzy surrounding the Ramsey family only escalated. Tabloids and news outlets relentlessly dissected every aspect of their lives, further traumatizing the grieving parents and their young son, Burke. The public's trust in the Boulder Police Department's ability to handle the high-profile investigation also began to erode. The tragic discovery and the compromised crime scene. It was the day after Christmas when the Ramsey family's lives were shattered. Patsy Ramsey placed a frantic 911 call, reporting that her daughter was missing and that a ransom note had been left behind, demanding $118,000 for her safe return. As law enforcement flooded Ramsey's upscale Boulder home, an extensive search was launched to locate the missing girl. Tragically, JonBenét's lifeless body was discovered just hours later in the home's basement. She had been beaten and strangled, with a garrote made from a paintbrush and cord found around her neck. The coroner later ruled her death a homicide. The crime scene, however, was immediately compromised. Numerous police officers, friends, and family members had trampled through the home, inadvertently destroying or contaminating potential evidence. This misstep would prove to be a major setback for investigators as they tried to piece together the events of that fateful night. The Ramsey family under intense scrutiny. In the aftermath, the Ramsey family came under intense scrutiny. John and Patsy maintained their innocence, claiming an intruder committed the crime. However, their decision to hire a private investigator fueled public suspicion that they were trying to cover up their involvement. Factors like the lack of forced entry, the ransom note, and the family's hesitance to cooperate led many to believe a Ramsey family member was responsible. Experts also argued the crime's nature, including the use of the garrote and potential sexual assault, suggested an emotional motive rather than a random act. The victim's home location further reinforced the perception the killer was close to the family. The controversial handling of the investigation. The Boulder Police Department faced widespread criticism for mishandling the JonBenét Ramsey investigation. Experts argued the probe was plagued by missteps, including allowing the Ramsey family to hire private investigators instead of fully cooperating. Police also failed to properly secure the crime scene, likely destroying crucial evidence. The authorities were accused of being overly deferential to the family's wealth and status, reluctant to consider them as suspects. As the case dragged on with no resolution, public frustration grew, leading to calls for an independent inquiry or overhaul of the department's approach. The investigation's flaws only heightened the chaos and uncertainty surrounding this baffling unsolved crime. Nearly 3 decades later, the JonBenét Ramsey murder remains one of the most complex unsolved crimes. While justice may have stalled, we must not forget JonBenét's story. By sharing this examination of her case, we honor her memory. So, if you found this compelling, hit that like button, subscribe, and spread the word. JonBenet deserves justice.